40, welcome back. The Louisiana legislative session has ended with measures heading to the governor's desk for his final approval. Lawmakers tackled several issues from education, permitless carry, and the insurance crisis, an issue that affects hundreds of thousands of people across the state. Governor Landry touted the hard work of Louisiana lawmakers for approving 5 priority bills that are designed to make insurance more accessible. We're taking a look at those measures this morning, also how they could affect you. To help further this conversation, we're joined by Republican State Senator Kirk Talbot and Democrat State Senator Royce Duplessis. Good morning to you both. Thank y'all for waking up so early, especially after rapping last night, driving from Baton Rouge and meeting us here. Talk about commitment. Greatly appreciate that.
Happy to be here.
So a few things that we do want to get to. Senator Talbot, I want to start with you and Senate Bill 323, which you authored. And what it would do is it allows homeowner insurers more time to pay claims. Essentially a good faith law here, right? Can you talk about how that will work?
I mean, what it does is it streamlines the whole claims process. I think everybody will agree that who had a claim in the last several years with these 4 storms we had in 13 months, that claims process was not fun. Not a good experience. It was vague, it was convoluted. You had insurance companies that wouldn't pay on time. You had no definition of when your claim starts, which triggers the 30-day period. In our existing law, you have a 30-day period to pay the policyholder a claim, or they get bad faith penalties. But we didn't have in our laws when that claim starts, when that 30 days starts. So insurance companies could manipulate that to say, well, we really don't owe you this in 30 days. It's really 10 more days after this. So we put a written proof of loss, which is something that almost every other state has. So now we know when that claim starts. We're giving insurance companies an extra 30 days to pay that claim because we want them to do it the right way. And when insurance companies have to abide to that 30-year rule, a lot of times they'll send an adjuster who doesn't know what they're doing, or they'll send somebody down there just to say they sent somebody down there during that 30-day period, and it doesn't get done right. So we looked at what other states are doing across the Gulf South, and I think it's something that's going to make this claims process a lot easier, and also put insurance companies on notice. When you file that written proof of loss, you have X amount of days to pay the claim, or they're going to suffer some penalties and consequences.
Yeah, but critics do challenge that idea of the good faith element of this.
Well, we didn't change. We didn't change anything on the bad faith penalties for the regular process. We did change that for citizens insurance, but we didn't do anything to change the bad faith. What we want to do is just tighten up, so everybody knows what the rules are. When we traveled around and talked to different insurance companies, we're trying to get them to come back to Louisiana so we can get competition, which will get us affordability. And one thing was, look, just y'all's 30-day period is very loose, it's very undefined. Show us what the rules are, and everybody agreed. And this was a bill that Royce helped us on, that the Louisiana Association of Justice, which is made up of mainly plaintiff attorneys, all groups kind of came together on this bill and collaborated, and I don't think we got a no vote in either body.
And Senator Duplessis, you were also part of a team behind House Bill 315, essentially some tort reform here, lengthening the statute of limitations for the filing of personal injury and property damage suits. Why was that necessary?
Well, I think this particular bill will apply more to auto injuries and auto claims.
Okay.
So the entire theme for this particular session that we just ended, in my opinion, was pretty much giving the industry what it said was going to help them to do what they needed to do to reduce claims. I disagree with a lot of what was proposed, but this was a bill that I actually agree with, in that by extending the prescription period, that gives policyholders and injured policyholders an opportunity, more time to file claims. And by doing that, that should reduce the number of lawsuits that are filed. I do not believe that lawsuits have anything to do with the increase in premiums. That's my belief, and Kirk and I, we have some disagreement on that, but ultimately this particular bill, by extending the prescription period from 1 year to 2 years, that will give policyholders and insurance companies more time to negotiate settlements, which should reduce the number of lawsuits that are filed. Nobody wants to file a lawsuit. So by extending it to 2 years, that puts us more in line with the rest of the country.
Commissioner Temple was behind House Bill 611 that would remove the three-year rule. The three-year rule essentially in Louisiana would prevent an insurer from dropping a customer if they've had them for 3 or more years, or at least make the process a little harder there. This is now no longer the case. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was interesting to see the shift. So we have a new insurance commissioner. He came with his legislative package. This was one of the big policies that he touted after traveling to London and visiting with these insurance companies. They said that Louisiana being an outlier with the three-year rule is problematic for companies. Our previous insurance commissioner defended the three-year rule, said it was one of the best consumer protections that we have. I agree that it was one of the best consumer protections that we have, so I was strongly opposed to getting rid of it. And now that the three-year rule is gone, the question is, how is this going to help insurance companies in terms of reducing rates? And that remains to be seen.
Senator?
Clearly, the three-year rule is not working. If you look at what companies went through when we had 4 storms in 3 years, you had companies that carried more risk than they should have. We're the only entity in the world, not just the country, that has a 3-year rule. And what did the 3-year rule give us? It gave us companies that couldn't pay claims when we needed them to pay claims. And the companies that did survive those 4 storms in 13 months that are under the 3-year rule are drastically raising their rates because they know they're carrying too much debt. Insurance companies have to manage their debt in order to stay solvent. And you know, when we need them to pay claims, when they don't pay claims, what good are they having to be here? So I think clearly the 3-year rule is not working. It's something that, again, is done nowhere else in the world. And, you know, we can sit here and do the same thing and watch our rates go sky high. But and keep in mind, we grandfathered everyone in. So it's really every policy written after August 1st that is not subject to the 3-year rule. So we did grandfather everyone in, and I think that's important to mention.
Yeah, most certainly. And we've got about a minute left. I do want to talk about Senate Bill 484, which passed the Senate. It was in committee in the House, but it ultimately didn't make it through, right?
It did pass, but it didn't pass in the version that I would have liked to see it pass. We have the Fortified Roof Program, which we know if we do it right, that's one of the best and quickest ways we can get rates reduced by strengthening the program.
What's doing it right?
Well, doing it right is guaranteeing that there be an actual reduction in premiums.
Which we don't have.
Which we do not have, and that's what the bill would have done. The ultimate version that we pass, it will create more transparency around what rates are being, reductions are being given.
Yeah, and that access to data is something that you did mention there too.
Absolutely.
I do want to get though to a quick soundbite from Commissioner Temple during one of those committee hearings, where the difference there is the commissioner just doesn't think that those rate reductions should be mandated. Just take a listen to this.
We want discounts. We want consumers to get the discounts that are actuarially justified. And the insurance companies are the ones that are best positioned to decide with their actuaries what that justification is. I don't think we want to get the state in the business of this.
Obviously, you would beg to differ.
My question is, if we don't get the state involved, then who do we get involved? Why do we just defer everything to the insurance companies for them to decide what the best discount is for consumers? I just think that's wrong. Okay. We have actuarials on staff. We have an insurance department. We have an insurance commissioner who, at the very least, if we're investing state money into a program to strengthen homes, you got $10,000 grants going to homeowners. We should at least be able to say this is the recommended reduction that they should be expecting. And for us to just put our heads in the sand and say we don't even want to know what the industry discount should be, I think that's wrong.
We're out of time, but Senator Talbot, I want to give you the final words on this.
Yeah, I mean, I think if the discounts are actuarially justified, we need to hold their feet to the fire to do that.
All right.
And I want to say Senator Talbot, he supported the original version of the bill that we called for providing the information, not the mandate, but the House version. That's the one we had to water down, but it passed the Senate 37-0.
Because the reality here, there are people who in some cases received the money or they fortified their roofs, but they didn't get the insurance reduction there, so they're still working to figure that out. Still a lot to do. Thank y'all so much for being here this morning. We greatly appreciate it. And of course, you can find all of our coverage of the session online. Just click the Politics tab. It's on our website for you, WWLTV.com. All right, let's get over to Peyton real quick in the weather.
Thanks, Brandon.